Giving feedback to your boss, telling your boss what they can do to improve their performance. In other words, what's traditionally known as a difficult conversation. And most people are very nervous about giving their boss that feedback. Yeah, and I get it. I absolutely get it. But one of my clients last week did, and the results were brilliant. So I want to share the story with you. And I also want to tell you what it was that she did that made the difference. Because before that conversation, she was speaking to me and we got the language absolutely right for her. Okay, the first thing, of course, is that you, as the receiver of their management, you are in the unique position to give them feedback that they can get from nowhere else, which is what it's like to be managed by them. And you've got to remember that a lot of people, they think they're doing good management, but actually it might not be good management. Yeah, everyone wants to be a good manager, but we know from painful experience that not many people are really brilliant managers. In fact, some are really bad. So the first thing, I guess, is to don't enter a conversation that you haven't got some idea is going to have a positive outcome. In other words, if you are pretty damn certain that your boss is going to shoot you down in flames, doesn't want to hear any feedback, thinks you're an idiot for giving feedback, if you just get on and do the job, blah, 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 and you've seen that happen to other people, then don't even bother. In fact, my advice would be if you can put up with the job and it's not really impacting you heavily, then stay. If their attitude is impacting you heavily, COVID situation or no COVID situation, start looking for a job. People are hiring. Might not be as easy as it's been in previous times, but people are hiring. So get yourself out as quickly as possible. Your mental health is more important. However, in this case, we had a lovely boss. She was high achieving, high working, very proactive, just a nightmare at delegating, couldn't delegate to save her life, but she was very open to feedback. She wanted the team to succeed. She wanted the team to win. She wanted herself to look good to the C-suite. She wanted to look good. She was ambitious, and she did know that feedback would help her do that. So all the signs were there that she was going to take the feedback really well. However, my client was still, she was still apprehensive of giving it. I can understand that. So we spent some time doing prep, and nothing replaces prep when it comes to a so-called difficult conversation. Now, the approach that worked for her, and this is particularly important when it comes to feeding back to bosses, is you've got to view it as a generous conversation. You are not there to tell them they're doing something wrong. You are there to help them be even better than they currently are. It's a shift, and it makes all the difference, particularly with bosses. When you have a subordinate you're giving feedback to, it's accepted that your job is to give feedback. So it's quite okay to give feedback. Giving feedback up to a boss can be slightly different. So you've got to really invest before giving feedback in building rapport and trust with your boss. They have got to see you as someone who is as committed as they are for them to look good, that you're reliable, that you will go the extra mile, that you believe in them as a boss, and that you recognize that part of your job is to have them look good. Suddenly, if I've got someone who's giving me feedback and I know that they are committed to me looking good, I listen to that feedback, even if it can be a little bit sort of like eek to hear. Yeah, because so you might want to spend a bit of time building that relationship and proving yourself to be committed to them looking good. And once you've built that, then you have permission to give them feedback. And you always give permission, you always give feedback in terms of, I know you want to achieve X, and the X has to be something that you know is important to them. something that's keeping them awake at night, something that, I know you want to embed your position with the C-suite. I know you're ambitious and you want to go on to a director level. I know whatever it is that you think that's really strong motivator for them. And then you can say, I've got some feedback here that I think will help you do it. Okay. Also, what's important is to share how their management style makes you feel. In this case, it was a classic case of a high-achieving, highly ambitious, very intelligent, quick boss who was just not delegating properly at all. She was delegating, but not really delegating, and then dashing around and doing it herself, and all kinds of stuff. So a key element of the feedback was, when you do that, it makes me feel that I'm useless. It makes me feel that you don't need me. It makes me feel that you are not valuing my expertise and what I can contribute to the team. Oh, there's a consequence to her behavior. She had the conversation because things came to a head, and she was like, Sue, she gave me another project, and it was a nightmare, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. So we prepped the conversation. She had the phrases that were going to be particularly useful for this boss, powerful for this boss, and she sat down and she gave her the feedback. Her boss took it extremely well. She then went on and checked with 2 other subordinates in her team. Are you experiencing something similar? They all concurred and said, yes. I was like, ooh, oh, so this really is a problem. She has committed now to change. Great. She has also, in 1 week, fallen back into her old habit again. To be expected. To be totally expected. So I said to her, okay, now you've got to have another conversation with her. Exactly what you would do if you were feeding back to a subordinate. And you have got to say, okay, we're a team together. We are going to all support you in breaking your habit of delegation, of poor delegation. And so they're going to talk about how they do that, how they break that habit of poor delegation, and what support they can give her to help her do it, and all that kind of thing. And we came up with some really great ideas about what she could do with that. It was really cool. So she's on it. She's on it, and her boss is on it, and her colleagues are on it. And yay, this is going to be huge, because this girl is smart and ambitious, this boss, and she needs to know how to delegate. If she can't delegate, her career is going to be held back somewhat significantly. Yeah. So, have you got some feedback to give to your boss? Have you got a trusted relationship with them where they know that you are 100% on their side? How can you give that conversation in a generous way, not in a you're doing it wrong way? How can you support them to improve after that? And the last thing is, the really last thing is, if you are a manager or a boss, what are you doing to encourage the necessary feedback that you need from the very unique people who can tell you, i.e. your team, about how you manage and where you can improve? Take care now. Bye.